Hi, Kent Chase, PGA professional. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about the place. So just a little more detail about what the right arm does during the way back to the place. But first we got to start at address. So Arjun, can you address this ball as if you're going to hit it towards that house with the red tile roof kind of? First, while you're standing there addressing it, the camera's going to be able to look at you, square up to it. Right arm's going to be soft and neutral and natural. So go ahead and address the ball with intent to hit. Hold that address, get a little more energy. Okay, good. So here's what's going to happen to that right elbow. It's already soft and a bit in. Here's the problem. We clap our hands, which is a beautiful thing, that we're going to golf just like we clap our hands, believe it or not. These are going to be important words I'm going to use in a moment, but this is a natural move right here. The problem in golf, and we always manage to make impact with our hands opposing one another perfectly, quite naturally, so it's a great thing. So problem with golf is we have to put our right hand on the club lower than the left. So let me go to this side. So the right hand goes on the club lower than the left, and our shoulders open out of the golf shot. So our shoulders are aiming left of the intended target line. So we have to square up. So we have to physically put that back to square. When we clap our hands, it's naturally square. When we put our club right hand on the club lower than the left, it opens our shoulders. So we got to physically square up to this parallel, feet, knees, hips, shoulders, and eyes, parallel to the target line, and then we got to soften the right elbow. So the elbow being soft is in a perfect position. So from the camera point of view, you should be able to barely see the half of my left arm right there. So that's a perfect thing. So this soft right arm is going to be important during the rest of the swing, because Arjun's going to demonstrate now how we're going to take it back, halfway back, and there's still going to be a soft right arm, and it's still going to be equally flexed as it was at the beginning. So now he's going to square up feet, knees, hips, shoulders, and eyes parallel to the intended target line, and now he's going to take it back halfway. Halfway is the point at which the left arm is parallel to the ground. So now he's halfway, left arm is parallel to the ground. This elbow is the same soft elbow that it was at address. It's the same distance apart as it was at address too. Stay there and hold that position. It's a beautiful thing. The laser beam on this shaft, if a laser beam was coming out of this hole right here, is pointing on his intended target line while he's at the halfway point. So this is a beautiful place. Can you hold that? Because I feel like I'm doing some work. Okay, good. So this is good. So the elbow was bent that much. It's still bent that much. It's going to bend a little more at the top just because it has to. There's no way around it. But the distance that the elbows are apart from one another is going to remain a constant. It's a beautiful place, and we're going to re-come through that place he's at now. So take your top, go to the top of your backswing. That's a beautiful thing. So this now, okay, so this is great. This is on the plane that we want it. This is still pointing on the intended target line. He's going to repass through this exact place on the way down. Now, initiate the down motion with the bump. Good. Go to impact and stop. Square the face by bowing it down a little bit. We'll talk about that in the future. And that's a great thing. Okay, so head up to that ball like you're going to hit it, and go ahead and hit it. Hit it right where you're aiming. So he came from the place, and by the way, he goes to a finish point place as well. So that's pretty much the right elbow and how it works during the swing, the right arm. So a great drill about the right arm. Notice my right arm has that soft little feeling. It's a little bit of arm flex. We talked about how to square up and how that right elbow kind of seems like in a little bit. We talked about the distance the elbows are from one another. If you look at my right and left, we talk how the distance stays the same. We don't change that. It stays the same. It stays the same. It stays the same. It even stays the same on this side of things. It's really cool if you see that. So the cool drill that I like to do with people is, here's where how the right arm works. If you put your grip on there properly and then get rid of the left hand momentarily, take it back halfway and know that you're going to point the laser beam that we talked about earlier on the target line. So my elbow is bent X amount and my elbow is bent the same amount. I've got to go get that. That's what creates really beautiful width, okay? Now it's going to bend additionally here to get to the top, because there's no way to not bend it anymore. You can't keep it straight to hinge and all that. So let's see a different point of view. So halfway back, I've kept my elbow bend the same. I've got my laser beam coming out of the shaft on the intended target line. I'm not going to bend that to get it. I'm going to go get it. Reach. That's width. That's power. My gosh. Then the place we talked about is in the place where we get the path, which means we can explode on the ball. So it's all about the place. So I've got two clubs here. I've got a sand wedge and a driver representing kind of how we set up with our weight distribution on our feet. So I'm going to go from the shortest club in my bag. We're going to set up with our weight on the left side, and we're on our way to the place. No matter what size swing we're using, we're on our way to the place. As the shots get a little bigger, we're going to widen the stance a little bit. As we get into full shots, we're going to have normal width stance, which is usually called shoulder width, or I do drills to find out where naturalness is. So we've got our natural stance width, equal weight distribution right here. At the top, I've got a little more on the right, maybe 60, and then at impact, I've got maybe kind of 50-50-ish going to the left side. Just after impact, I'm going to have 60. Driver, the extreme opposite, or the extreme example of now. So we got driver, a little wider than shoulder width, but now I'm going to my place. I'm keeping the elbows the way we talked about, but I'm transferring more weight. I want a lot of weight on my right side. I want upwards of 80% of my body weight on my right side at the top of my swing with the driver. In fact, the old guys, Jack Nicklaus's and Tom Watson and Johnny Miller's, they actually lifted their left heel quite a bit to make sure they were on their left side. And then to initiate the downswing, not only did they start with their hips, little hip bump there, making sure the upper body doesn't go first, and then the rotation, and then during the moment through impact, they set the heel, just before impact actually, set the heel and explode through the ball. So the modern swing, a lot of people think that it's more important to keep the left heel on the ground, and it's harder to get a weight transfer that way, so that's a skill that's kind of been lost a little bit. And the modern swing, trying to keep that left heel on the ground in the backswing, also causes this problem. People jump through impact, so they lift their heel at the wrong time. I like lift, set. I don't like keep, lift. So I make sure when I do practice swings that I actually do the old school swing, get on the right side and lift my left heel, so I make sure I'm getting a weight transfer. And remember, that is while I'm going to the place, because I want to come from the place. So now we got the weight transfer involved in the place. So yeah, we're going to go, watch my head, it's going to go back a little bit. It's going to actually go back. I'm going to move off the ball. Tiger Woods, I've got a lot of video of him when he was winning Masters championships, the Masters by 12 shots. He was dominating golf. And his driver, I've got great videos showing that he was actually going 4 inches off the ball. In other words, if you draw a line on his nose is over here at the top of his backswing, clearly indicating how much weight he's got on his right side. And then he initiated on the downswing, setting his weight on the left side, and impact, he was still 2 inches behind where he started. So he went back 4, came towards 2. So towards 2, but still 2 to the right of where he started, was the moment of impact. So it's a beautiful thing. So yes, get on your right side hard. So the concept of a wider swing arc, that's a really big thing. People want to be wider, but they really don't know what it means to be wider. So a lot of people in their efforts to be wider are going about it the wrong way because they didn't even address the ball in a position which creates the possibility of being wider. So most people are a little slouchy. If you review a lot of our tapes from before about the address position, grip, alignment, posture, a lot of them suffer in posture. They don't really have any width here, and they're trying to learn width, and they're trying to figure out, when do I get it? Well, if you can't get it if you don't already got it. That's one of the reasons we have such really important, good, solid posture, and we have a lot of reach. Not this kind of reach. We still have our posture, but this club is actually pulling from a golf professional very hard at address. They feel the weight of that club hanging. It's maxed out, and they have what's called width at address that they're going to keep. So it's not a sudden adding of width, or it's not a losing of width. It's a keeping of width. So we have it, we keep it. All the stuff we talked about the right elbow in this place, stays in that place wide as we can, getting to the right, loading up, getting on top of the right hip, actually getting on top of the right leg, solid right leg with all this width. So interesting thing, people say, well, then my left arm has to be really locked straight, right? No, it doesn't actually. Watch this. I am as long and wide as I can be, and there's no tension in my arm. It's soft and long. It's as long as it can be without having tension. This is as long as it can be without having tension. Everything's soft. Everything has to be at ease of motion and naturalness. So if we get into locked up positions and stiffness, that's not width. That's actually slowing us down. It's flexing muscles. We're actually going to decrease speed. So we want to be wide, keep wide. Remember the laser beam from this camera angle, pointing on the target line, as wide as I can be. Now, the shoulder under the chin thing, while I'm doing that, this is how my posture works. This is my posture is set forth. My swing plane is going to go right around my posture. So my shoulders are going around my posture, this way back, this way forth. I'm not on this plane, I'm on this plane. This is the place. Notice how my shoulder's not touching my chin whatsoever, and notice how it still isn't while I've got all that width. So that's a cool thing. So this is my spot. So here's my spot. Here's my spot. This is my spot. If we learn this with our soft, natural arms, elbow distance is the same, laser beams pointing on the intended target line, hinge the wrists a bit, no chin crash, no locked up arms. We're in a great place. We're on our right side, about 80% with driver. We're about to hip bump it, and then we're gonna rotate hips first because that's what starts it in motion while we stay in this plane, and we're ready to just flat out rip it. So this thing I call the chin crash, the dreaded chin crash. Usually this dreaded chin crash happens to people who are stiff. It's a very unathletic thing where they get to at the top because of stiffness. We're going to try to be at ease of motion in everything we do. Like I've talked about before, when a pitcher in the major leagues throws a baseball 100 miles per hour, they're at very ease of motion. Their arm takes it back to a place so they can let it go. Everything's loose so they can maximize speed. There's no flexing of muscles. The quarterback takes it back. His arm is soft. His hands are soft. The guy that's shooting baskets, he takes it back and sets it, lets it go soft. The tennis player, soft grip pressure. Even the bowler, he takes it back to the place and lets it go. But nobody's doing muscles. The only place you see people flexing a lot of muscles is golf. And for some reason, it's the flexing of muscles that gets them in the stiff, uncoordinated places. So they can't be at ease of motion. So the goal would be this new word to you guys, probably my word. I've used it for years. Actually, I learned this word from Wild Bill Melhorn. He was a winner of 20-something PGA Tour events in the Walter Hagen era. He was on the first Ryder Cup team. It was my great blessing that I got to learn a lot of neat things from him. And one of his key words that he would use was ease of motion. Muscles, arms, and body need to be in harmony with one another, and everything has to be at ease of motion. So the flexing of muscles is what kills it. So to be able to let your posture work for you, you have to allow your swing to naturally go around your spine angle. So your spine angle is the key to where your shoulders go. So your shoulders should go to a very natural place, and they can't be stiff. If I stiffen up, I can't get where I want to get. If I just let them turn and rotate, they're going to go to the right place, and my chin is out of the way. It's the stiff people. You'll see it. They get stiff, and they can't turn anymore. They eliminate the turn. They're trying to get to a place. They can't do it. Different things are happening during their swing, and they're going to bad places. But if the rotation, which you could learn on a simple drill, let your spine, let your shoulders go around your spine. So we can even do the drill a bit this way. This is kind of a baseball swing plane. So it's just going around my current spine angle. Now I'm going to have a different spine angle, and my shoulders are going to go around that spine angle. That's my rotation. That's where my shoulder goes. I'm at ease of motion, and I can actually put this club right where I want it. This doesn't need to happen. Keep it wide.
This is Ken Chase. Be sure to get a copy of my book, If I Only Had a Mulligan. It is a process I use for developing highly competitive and successful players. Over 50 state high school champions, over 50 scholarships awarded, U.S. Kids World Champions, U.S. Junior Champions, U.S. Amateur Champions, PGA and LPGA touring professionals. Make the most of your time. Remember, how you learn is just as important as what you learn.